What's up, guys? My name is Miles, and behind me is my 2018 Mercedes E63s AMG. Now, it looks like a beautiful day, but it is quite cold out here. However, we got dry roads, so I thought I would take the car for a drive, stretch its legs, and make a quick video for you guys on my top 5 dislikes with this 2018 E63s AMG. So I've owned this car now for about a year and a half. I've had a lot of time to fall in love with it, and I really do. I love this car. But there is some things that I've noticed that bother me or annoy me with the car, or things that I kind of expected the car to have that it just doesn't. And if you're shopping for a 2018 E63s, then stick around, because some of these are specific to the 2018 model, and you may want to look at a newer model year if any of these are a deal breaker for you. So without any further ado, let's hop into the video. Here's my top 5 dislikes with my 2018 Mercedes E63s AMG. All right, guys, so we're back. We are in the car and we are going to go for a quick cruise. Like I said, I just want to stretch the legs out a little bit, as this car sits quite a bit in the wintertime. But I want to hop into the video really with my first dislike. And my first dislike is something that you touch, something that you see, that you interact with on a daily basis, and it is the steering wheel. And the 2018 E63s does not have a heated steering wheel. And to me, that was just shocking. And it's not even something I considered before I purchased the car. I just assumed that that was pretty standard in 2018, but maybe I'm wrong. This car comes with a heated center console. You've got heated armrests on the driver's seat and on the passenger seat. Of course, heated seats in the front and cooled, and heated seats in the back, but no heated steering wheel, which to me doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, guys, my second dislike for the day today is the lack of the ability to remote start the car. So there's no option on the key. There's no button that you can click to remote start the car. You also cannot do it through the Mercedes Me app with the 2018s. But my real frustration is that if you go out to the car and you start it yourself and you allow it to warm up, once the key leaves the vehicle, you can't lock the car. So if it recognizes the key is outside of the car and the car is running, you can't lock the doors, which essentially means you're either left letting your car warm up unlocked in your driveway, or sitting inside of your car while it warms up. Now, I live in a pretty cold climate in Canada. For me, this is definitely a big frustration. It's not what I would consider a deal breaker, but if it is for you, then you might want to look at the 2019 model year, because both of these first 2 dislikes I've mentioned, the heated steering wheel and the remote start, were updated for the 2018 model year. So the 2019 model year, sorry. So 2019, you can remote start through the Mercedes Me app, and it also comes along with the aesthetic upgrades to the steering wheel with a heated steering wheel. The third dislike that I'm going to talk about today is probably the one that bothers me the most, and that is just the cheap material and the crappy plastics inside of this car. Now, it drives me crazy because you cannot touch any plastic surface in this car without it squeaking or creaking or making some sort of cracking sound. Really, it's the biggest downfall that I've had with the car. And I don't notice it when I'm driving around under normal circumstances, but if I open the cup holder, or if I touch anything in this center console or use any of these buttons, you definitely hear the creaking. And I'll get a sound clip and I'll insert it for you guys here. I mean, that's not what you're hoping for when you're buying a car with this price tag, and it's really not something I expected. And I didn't push on these plastics, and maybe I should have before I bought the car. Probably wouldn't have stopped me from buying the car, to be honest. But if there's one thing that I could say really needed to be done differently and actually bothers me about this car, it's definitely those plastics on the interior and just how squeaky they are. All right, so my fourth dislike is going to be with this control system inside. So again, we're in the cockpit. This is something that I'm interacting with and I'm forced to use on a daily basis. And what I'm referring to is this touchpad and then the selector wheel. So you can use both of them for the same thing. You can scroll and you can turn the wheel and click on it, or you can use the touchpad just like you would with a mouse. The problem that I have with them is they're not very fluid. So they just seem to freeze. It's a little bit glitchy. It'll be delayed in, like, if you're going through a song list, maybe it'll be like a song or two delayed sometimes. Now, most of the time I will say it does work good, but there's enough defects for me to notice it and for it to be a nuisance for me and for me to expect it when I'm driving the car. So the number 4 dislike is the glitchy system, and also the fact that it's not a touchscreen. Now that has pros and cons to it. There's no fingerprints on my screen ever, but I think it would be a lot more simple to use and interactive if it just had a touchscreen. So we're getting on the highway, and I don't know what an E63s video would be without a pulse, so let's give her. Quick run up the highway. All right, guys. Regardless of what I've mentioned today, all these different dislikes or disappointments with the car, I'm going to be honest, none of it would have affected my decision to purchase this car had I known about them before. So they're not big enough to make me want to sell the car. They're not big enough to make me not have purchased the car. I love this car, and what it's meant to do is throw you in your seat, make you smile, and just sound like a symphony from heaven. And I think it does all those things precisely. Okay, so my 5th and my final dislike that I want to talk about today is on the outside of the car. I'm losing light, so I decided I would just pull over so I could hop out and I could show you guys and wrap up the video. So my 5th and my final dislike is right here in the front of the car. Now, if you look into these air dams here, that's where your intercooler sits. I hope you guys can see it. I'll try to get a close-up for you. So in there, you can see there's actually a little black grate that's in front of the intercooler. That is actually Mercedes' fix to the problem. And the issue, as I'm sure you can imagine, is that your intercoolers are wide open. So as you drive down the street, any road debris from vehicles or anything else has a high possibility it could go in there and puncture your intercooler, which would of course leave you stranded. So I haven't had this issue. I've heard about it, other owners experiencing it online and in the threads, but it's definitely something that I could see being a problem and a reason why I wanted to call it out today. All right, guys, so that's it. That's the end of my video, my top 5 dislikes with the E63s. And I know some of you are probably thinking, that's it? Like, that's your top 5 dislikes? And honestly, it is. I haven't had any issues with this car mechanically, so there's not much there that I can talk about. It's been regular scheduled maintenance, so I've got pads and rotors coming up next week, a couple oil changes, but nothing major and nothing that's left me stranded at any point in time. Aside from the creature features that I mentioned in this video, the car is really well made. It's put together, you know, exactly like you would expect from an AMG, but some of these things that I mentioned are a big downfall too. So I thought I'd make this video just highlighting that for any other people that are out there considering one of these cars. Of course, as with any used car, but especially an AMG, if you're looking to buy one of these cars used, make sure you take it for a pre-purchase inspection at an authorized Mercedes or independent mechanic that you trust. And on top of that, just check out the forums. There's some really good information from owners, from mechanics, from Mercedes certified mechanics on those forums, and they're all really helpful. It's a great group of people to talk to know, and when you buy this car, you're not just buying a car, you're joining that community. I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you did, hit that subscribe button. If you could hit the bell so you get notified when I drop my next video next week on my top 5 loves with the E63s. And until then, I'm Miles, that's the bully. Peace.